Pace cars off the track, and we are green here on NASCAR Life in the Fast Lane on WagerTalk TV. And what an exciting race to break down this week. The first time in NASCAR history, they're going to a Grand Prix track in Texas, Austin, Texas, COTA, C-O-T-A, Circuit of the Americas. It's a road course, but unlike any they've been to. So pay attention here. We're going to break it down, handicap the race to the best we can, and also give you some play on and play against drivers, also some free plays as an additional bonus. First, though, I want to recap last week's race in Dover, and I want to bring in, of course, Rocky Atkinson, SportsMemo.com, and Andy Lang, WagerTalk.com, two of the best in the business NASCAR experts. And Rocky, I'll throw it to you, a little weekly tradition here for the Rocky recap for last week's race.
Yeah, Kyle Larson dominated the race early. He won both Stage 1 and Stage 2. He led 263 laps on the day. But his teammate, Alex Bowman, brought home the win for his second win of the year. Hendrick Motorsports dominated the race, with their four drivers finishing 1, 2, 3, and 4, with Bowman winning, Larson finishing second, Elliott was third, and William Byron finished fourth. This was only the third time in history that an organization has had all their cars finish in the top four. Logano finished fifth, Harvick, Hamlin, Reddick, Suarez, and Custer rounded out the top 10. So we're halfway through the regular season now. We have 10 drivers with wins so far. Still want to point out Hamlin, the defending Cup champion Chase Elliott, and Kevin Harvick still have not won the race this season. They're sitting 11th, 12th, and 13th in the standings. Hamlin's the points leader, and it shows how much he has dominated this year without winning a race, as he has 574 points, with William Byron second behind him with 473 points. Martin Truex and his 3 wins with only 472 points compared to Hamlin's 574. So it just shows how Hamlin's dominated. It was a good race last weekend, and looking forward to move on. I'm now 7-1 my last 8 premium picks. We're getting hot, and we're up on the man, and we're looking to continue to do so this weekend.
Yeah, and the viewers have been following us know that Rocky had some incredible bad beats that really did not even out. Had more bad beats than good beats so far this season. He's still up overall, so there's even more good things to come, in my opinion, Rocky. And he's up over 40 games over the last 3 years in NASCAR bets, over 100 wins. And SportsMemo.com is when you get Rocky's best bets for this weekend. Of course, WagerTalk.com is where you can get Andy Lang's best bets. Andy, your takeaway from Dover, it's a 1 mile, kind of a unique track. It's not a flat track like the under 1 miles in New Hampshire and Phoenix. Once again, guys, you know, my new theory that Richmond, my home track, translates to Darlington and maybe Dover a little more than we thought. Alex Bowman wins Richmond. He only led 1 lap, of course, but now he goes and wins Dover last week, Andy. And as Rocky said, Hendrick, 1, 2, 3, 4, just complete domination. Penske's been strong at times. Gibbs has been strong at times. That was the strongest Hendrick's been this year. And Chase Elliott now is 4th only on his own team as far as success this year after winning the Cup championship last year. William Byron, 11th straight top 10, I believe. Bowman, 2 wins. Kyle Larson, as Rocky said, has been the strongest driver on that team and dominated the race again last week without a win. So Andy Lang, how did Dover go for you? What you got going this weekend? I think you got a little Formula One, a little 2-for-1 special. And isn't it ironic you got some Formula One, Andy Lang, because this is a F1 track, a Grand Prix track in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, they're racing on the very, very rich streets of Monaco, slightly different from Austin, Texas. So takeaways. First off, Rocky, you went over the top 10. Do you want to go over who was 11th? You want to break down the top 11? Bubba Wallace. Wallace got it.
I need to mention that, actually. Bubba Wallace 11th place. 11th.
Lead lap.
Wow.
Yeah, unbelievable. That was his best performance. It's good to get things back to normal. Myself and Rocky turned profits last week, so feeling like the good old days. Times are back. So a couple takeaways on head-to-heads. I think it's important for everyone. I did my little rant about Ross Chastain, and I lost 2 weeks ago Ross Chastain to Chase Briscoe. I came right back and took it and got the win. And the reason I want to bring that up, I think a lot of times when people are thinking of fading or supporting a driver, if you lose one of them, people abandon the strategy. And you're not looking to win every single one. You want to go 8-2, 7-3. And so I was proud that myself and the clients went right back with Chastain. And I made it a point that I said no more leaving William Byron off my card. And William Byron comes through with the head-to-head win. He looks fantastic. And not only was Hendricks dominant, it wasn't even close. I mean, they just ran away with everything. And I almost texted you guys because the announcers gave Kyle Larson the ultimate kiss of death when they did their stupid little thing about who do they think it's going to win, and they always get cute and pick some guys, and every single one of them tried to be funny and picked Kyle Larson. I almost texted you guys. I was like, can we in race bet somebody besides Larson, because those bozos just nailed him, and sure enough he didn't. But as good of a day as myself and Rocky had, not as good a day as Rick Hendrick. That was probably a really good night for Mr. Hendricks. So looking forward to this course. NASCAR.com has a great feature on this course. They take you through all 20 turns. 20 turns. That's a lot. And so if you're looking at what this track is like, NASCAR.com did a really, really good job. They have clips from practice. So you can see a little bit about what the course is. Very, very different from anything we've seen. So should be a lot of fun. I expect chaos, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. I have some stats on it as well. It's not your typical road course. Very fast, a lot more turns, as you mentioned. It'll be exciting to watch. And, I'm interested to see how you guys are going to handicap it. I think we have to look at the road course, guys. Of course, we do have practice. I'll get to that as well. But before we transition over to the road course in Austin, Texas, let's wrap up Dover with the Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Award winner. And we had a couple good nominees that were close this week, but we do have an overall winner here. And first, let me give you the 5 that kind of made the final cut. We had Kyle Busch's engine blows up from a spark plug wire. We had Chase Briscoe wrecking himself to stay on the lead lap, which is pretty good. The Stone Statue trophy wearing the protective mask. And by the way, that trophy was holding the 48 car, and a life-size car, the big, huge trophy, and he ends up winning. I mean, maybe that should have been our handicap for the race. We got to see who the Monster Mile is holding. That was pretty eerie, to say the least. And then also Ricky Stenhouse, the namesake for this award, gets a pits penalty, later wrecks Alfredo. So we had a little double Stenhouse there. And then Bowman, the winner of the race, his car catches on fire while doing the post-race interview. And I actually submitted that nominee, and then I realized it was actually the rubber from his burnout on the track. So I downgraded that one a little, and that finished second to last in the voting, as it probably should have. But at first, I thought he literally caught the car on fire, which is pretty damn cool. But it was just the rubber, I think, on the track burning. But we had a couple, Andy, that were very close. Stenhouse, I actually voted for Stenhouse just because I have to, and that got 25%. Chase Briscoe wrecks himself, staying on the lead lap, got 28%. But we had somebody that just edged him out by a couple of votes and got 29%. I'll let you give us the winner.
Yeah, I voted for Stenhouse because yet another appearance by Anthony Alfredo.
Yeah, that's a 2-for-1 special.
It's unbelievable how that does it. Well, in honor of the statue wearing a mask, put this mask on here. Can't be too safe. So no, the winner is Kyle Busch. Engine goes out early. Turns out it was a spark plug wire. I believe this happened to Martin Truex at the Brickyard last year, if memory serves, where his like they wrapped up his day, and then like 10 laps later, like, oh, it was a spark plug. We just didn't plug it in. So yeah, too bad, because Kyle Busch was on a really, really good run, but then those dang spark plug wires, gosh darn it, ruined $1 million team and $1 million car and $1 million driver. One wire completely took him out. So congratulations to Kyle Busch and his spark plug wire.
Yeah, and he's an interesting guy to transition into the road course with, because as you said, Andy, Kyle Busch, was no longer on our play against until we see otherwise list. He wins a race. He's been strong overall. And road course numbers for him are very interesting, actually. If you look at his average finish since the beginning of the 2018 season, this is basically the last 3+ seasons of road courses. We've had like 9 of them, I believe. He has the 29th best finish. But then I like to look at driver rating. He's actually 9th. So there again, it's been kind of feast or famine for Kyle Busch. He's had some bad one-offs. So you better hope that spark plug wire is not an issue this week at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. Hey, before we get to the road course and some free plays, free predictions here, just a reminder, Rocky Atkinson, sportsmemo.com for his official NASCAR best bets this weekend. Rocky over 100 NASCAR wins the last 3 years, over 40 up in net units. And then, of course, Andy Lang Formula One and NASCAR 2-for-1 special at WagerTalk.com this weekend. It's a twofer. WagerTalk.com for Andy, SportsMemo.com for Rocky. And Rocky, I'll throw it to you first for this road course. As Andy mentioned, 20 turns. I believe it gets up to like 170 miles per hour on some of the straightaways and then gets down to like 30 miles an hour on some of the turns. So this is unlike Sonoma or Watkins Glen that we've all had for several years to handicap. And then, of course, now we've got the Rovals in Charlotte and Daytona. I think we have to be careful with the Rovals. Although, you know, it's interesting. With that much speed, maybe a Roval is more of a true handicap than Sonoma or Watkins Glen. So I'm interested to see your takeaway on this and what you're looking at. And also, Rocky, of course, you sent me the start times. I know you and I look at practice a little more than Andy does. Andy will probably be looking at it for this race, of course, though. But from a handicapping perspective, Saturday morning, there will be a practice session. The only other time we've had that this year was, I believe, the Dirt Bristol race. I don't think we had it at the Roval in Daytona. So, by the way, the Dirt Bristol race, some guys that we didn't think were going to be that strong, like Logano and Truex, who said they didn't like dirt, were very good in that practice session, and they were very good in the race. So pay attention to the practice, Rocky. I know you'll be doing that on Saturday, but, of course, we're doing the show here on Friday evening before the practices. So who are you looking at overall here at COTA?
All right, so for this track, usually I look at track history, where there's no track history here. This is the first time Cup Series has raced at this track. So we got to look at track type a little bit, which I'm going to have to factor in most of the road courses. I did watch a video with Kyle Busch driving the car, and he had Daniel Hemrick in the passenger seat, and John Hunter Nemechek was in the back seat. And Kyle was flying around that track, and John Hunter Nemechek said, "I can't get my seatbelt locked in," and he was falling back there, and Kyle was going up a hill, and he said, "Where's the turn? Where's the turn at?" You know, and he couldn't see, so he couldn't tell where the turn was coming up at. But you know, it finally came, and but like Andy said earlier, 20 turns in this thing, and it's going to be interesting to handicap it. I'll definitely be looking at practice times after Saturday. I think that'll be very key in this race, and then qualifying. If it's you know, like some of the normal road courses, those top 10 guys are very important. It's very important where you run there, where you start. But one guy I'm going to look at is Chase Elliott. Elliott has 5 wins, 6 top 5 finishes, 8 top 10s, and 13 road course races. His average finish is 9.9 on road courses, which is second best only to Kaz Grala, who finished 7th in his only road course race in the Cup Series. Over the last 3 years, which is 9 races, Elliott has led the most laps of anyone on road courses with 275 laps led. An average finish has been a little stronger recently at 8.1 during that time. I do also want to make note that one of my Twitter followers actually sent me a direct message where Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, and Martin Truex Jr. all tested tires on this track a couple months ago. So that gives them a little bit of an advantage. Although they are, you know, running the practice session on Saturday and the qualifying Sunday, still they've been here and they've run the track. So I'm looking at Chase Elliott to do well this weekend.
Hey, Rocky, real quick, give me those names again who have been on the track.
Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, and Martin Truex Jr.
I think that's huge.
I
mean, because you know, Andy, the fact that Rocky's saying when it was Kyle Busch driving it for the first time, is like, where's the turn? Well, the good news is they'll have a 50-minute practice session to learn the track. I mean, come on. And then they do have qualifying those Sunday morning. That'll basically be like another practice. You know, back in the old school days, you know, 2-3 years ago, I always said qualifying most overrated factor in all of sports because, first of all, they're running a one-lap package versus race trim where they're, you know, going for consistency. But road course, that's not the case. This will probably be the same. Well, it will be the same setup because they're racing right after it. So that'll be a second practice session, in my opinion. And I think that one will be more telling for a couple reasons because it'll be the second time they're on the track. We'll see who runs better then, who makes big improvements. And also that, as Rocky said, will have the starting order. And this is the one type of track where starting order matters more. Most of these cookie cutter ovals, Talladega, whatever, it doesn't matter because they can all pass, but it's tougher on road courses. So Sunday morning is going to also be very important. Both of those, by the way, are live on the Fox Sports 1 and 2 networks around 10 a.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday morning from what I'm seeing. And Andy, I know you're going to probably be looking at that stuff. Chase Elliott's a guy I mentioned is only 4th best on his own team, yet he's the best road course racer. 6 of his last 8 road course races have come on Rovals, which I thought was interesting. He did win at Watkins Glen in August of 19, but he finished 37th after starting 4th at Sonoma in June of 19. But he was 1st and 4th the year before at Watkins Glen and Sonoma. So obviously he's a legit road course, very good on the Rovals. Andy, Chase Elliott, what are you thinking there? And also someone else you're looking at this week.
Yeah, by the way, you mentioned the qualifying thing. I'm sure Rocky is in the same boat. There was nothing better than when Kevin Harvick would qualify 19th and you'd get amazing head-to-head matchups. That was my bread and butter forever. He was terrible at qualifying, and then you realize, oh, he's not really trying to get on the pole. They're just testing out their car and getting to know the track. But yeah, Kevin Harvick was awesome. Oh man, he'd do that, and then they'd hang him plus 110 against somebody after qualifying. So, I think this when you have an unknown course and a lot of things that we can't really study, I just kind of use the eye test and. Dark horse, this would not surprise me at all if Brad Keselowski, the ninja of NASCAR, all of a sudden wins out of nowhere. But one thing I want to bring up, I think pit crews are going to be really important. Really, really good strategy. How to get in and out of the pits the best, and which crew chiefs are really on top of it. Because with these road courses, as we see on these road tracks, on these road courses, pitch can make or break you. I mean, they can do that in the ovals, but we see teams all the time screw up their pit stops on road courses, especially with tracks this big, because you only get a couple of pit stops, and sometimes that's the best way to pass 10 guys. So I actually have looked up the best pit crews this year. Kevin Harvick's 1, Kyle Busch is 2, Kurt Busch is 3, Logano's 4, and Blaney is 5. So if you're kind of looking at guys who may have an advantage as far as pit stops, those might be guys to look at. First guy that jumped off the page to me, Christopher Bell. On the last 8 road course races, he's got the 3rd best averaging finish, believe it or not, behind Truex and Chase Elliott, averaging 8.7 running position. So he runs good. These aren't lucky finishes. He's consistently running inside the top 9. Got the win earlier this year. He proved that he can close out at the Daytona road course. So Christopher Bell might be somebody to really put in DFS lineups. If you're playing in seasonal fantasy leagues, don't leave him off your card, and you might get a really nice head-to-head matchup with him.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind he's on the Gibbs team now this season. He was not before. He finished last year with the lesser team, 21st and 24th at Daytona and Charlotte Rovals, and then he went to Daytona this year with Gibbs Racing. So pretty big improvement on his 3 Cup tracks that he's raced at here. He's been very good at the other series, as you mentioned, on road courses. But he is the defending champ. We forgot to mention that at the one road course that we've had this year at Daytona. Rocky, who's somebody else you're looking at? And by the way, Andy, you talk about Keselowski. He's down on the average finish list, but he's been top 28 of the last 9 road course races. And his driver rating's like around top 10 still. So he's always in contention on any track, including these. Rocky, what you're looking at here for the Austin road course?
I'm going to mention Martin Truex Jr. here. Already said he was one of them that tested tires here a couple months back. But he's also good on road courses. 4 wins, 11 top 5 finishes, 17 top 10s in 33 road course races. Finished 13.5 courses in his career. Over the past 3 years, he has 2 wins, 5 top 5 finishes, and 7 top 10s in those 9 races. Average finish 5.4, which is the best among all drivers. And he's hot this year. I mean, with 3 wins already under his belt. Although he had a down race last week, I'm looking for Truex to be at the front this weekend.
Yeah, he's been really good this year. And keep in mind, I mentioned how he didn't like dirt. He goes into Bristol, and he was really fast in the practice sessions, and he dominated that race, even though he finished 10th or 15th down. He had that late problem, but he was very strong there. He's actually been a lot better than some of his finishes, and he still has 2 wins on top of that, with all that said. And, yeah, if you look at the 2 guys that have been the most consistent dominant drivers the last 3 years on road courses, it's Chase Elliott. He's won 5 of 9. Truex has won 2 of 9, but they both have led twice as many laps as anybody else. So those have been the 2 guys to beat, in my opinion, as well. Truex, by the way, Chase Elliott's had 2 bad finishes. Martin Truex has not. He's been top 20 all 9, top 10 in 7 of the 9. And Elliott's only been top 10, 7 of the 9. So there again, Elliott has more wins, but Truex has been just as strong and actually a little bit more consistent, to be honest. Andy Lang, who's somebody else that jumps out to you? And by the way, best average finish, Truex is ahead of Elliott for that reason of all the drivers the last 9 races. Andy Lang, who's someone else you're looking at on the road course?
Well, I looked at the Roval and the Daytona road course earlier this year. So last 3 races combined on Rovals and the Daytona road course, best average finish is Joey Logano, top 5, only guy to average a top 5 finish at those 3 races. Average 4.7. I'll take him. I mentioned him as the 4th best pit crew team this year. I think he's done a pretty nice job. He finished 5th. He was the first guy outside of the Hendricks cars last week. He's been kind of sneaky good. You don't hear a whole lot from him, but on the road courses, he's been solid. He knows how to stay out of trouble, and I think he can make some noise.
And by the way, Andy, something about the last race was Alex gave him the lead that in the race for him was the fastest pit stop of the entire season at any track at any time this year. That basically is what made the difference and why he probably ended up beating Kyle Larson. So, yeah, the pit crews are the unsung heroes and the handicap that sometimes gets overlooked here on the show. But, yeah, Alex Bowman had the fastest pit stop of any team all season in any race this year, and that's what made the difference, gave him the lead that he ended up winning with late last week in Dover. Bowman, by the way, not great on road courses, but if you look at the last 3, he's been top 10 in all 3, and he's been top 10 in 4 of his live with only a 12th place. So he's gotten a lot better fast. So we'll see if that fast pit crew can keep him alive this week on that Hendrick. Rocky, who's somebody else you're looking at here at COTA, Circuit of the Americas?
Going to take a look at Kyle Busch here this weekend. He has 4 wins, 11 top 5s, 19 top 10 finishes, and 35 road course races. His average finish is 15.5 on road course races in his career. And despite not doing as good the past few years on road courses, only 3 top 5 finishes in the last 9 races. Before last week, anyway, he seemed to be getting back in old Kyle Busch form. And we've been discussing this ever since the shutdown last year. And when NASCAR came back, they are practicing and qualifying for this race, which should help Kyle out. We'll see just how important that is, I think, this weekend. And I'm looking for Kyle to, after getting a little extra practice on the track, to finish strong this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's huge because, first of all, when there's so many unknowns on a track like this, you want to look for anybody that has some experience there. And then you also, I think, by default, want to look at who you feel are the best drivers overall. Kyle Busch has always been, I think, probably the best driver of the NASCAR circuit. You look at what he does at the Truck Series, he hops right in. He's a minus money favorite to win the race any given week. You look at him on the Xfinity Nationwide Series over the years, he hops in there. He's a favorite to win right away. I think he's a very good driver. I think Logano's a very talented driver, and Andy just mentioned him. Elliott, obviously, you have to say is a talented driver. He's having a little bit of an off season. But Jeff Gordon was good at all types of tracks, including road courses. Tony Stewart was. And these are, you think of as great drivers, and Kyle Busch is up there. Keselowski's interesting for that reason as well. Quickly on Kyle Busch, so the practicing is so big. That really is why he struggled last year, in my opinion. He has a little experience here, as you mentioned, Rocky. Plus, we're going to get the practice session. But let's look also. Last year, the 2 regular road course races, actually, we had all basically Rovals last year, I believe. We didn't go to Watkins Glen or Sonoma last year. So there are 4 Rovals. He was 30th or worse in 3 of those 4. Maybe he just doesn't like Rovals ever since. He was bad in 2019. But then if you start going back, if you take out the one other Roval, he's been top 7 in like 9 out of 10 at Watkins Glen and Sonoma over the last 5-6 years. And when 11th place is the only one he wasn't top 7. So he's been dominant on the regular road courses. So, Andy, I guess the question becomes, is this a regular road course or is it more of a Roval with some of those fast stretches, maybe a little bit of both? What are your thoughts there? And who's somebody else you're looking at?
It's a unicorn track. So sometimes there's just no comparison. I mean, we can look at as many tracks as we want to, but the fact is, this is unlike all the other tracks that they race on. It's one of a kind. So I was laughing, Rocky, you telling the story of John Hunter Nemechek riding in the back seat with Kyle Busch. I bet Nemechek was just like, "Oh my God, I didn't know the car could go this fast." So
it's the closest he ever came to be with a winning car.
You can do that?
And not wreck.
You're allowed to go over 60.
Yeah. There's no speed limit.
You touch the red line on the RPM thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I was looking at. Well, I would like to take William Byron. We talked about him last week. Here's all the analysis I need. Denny Hamlin has got to win a race at some point. he's got the best average finish across the season. He's got the most points in NASCAR by far. He averages top 10 at the last 8 road courses, so he's not terrible. But I just have to mention that I cannot believe we're this far into the season where Denny Hamlin has been so good and doesn't have a win. So, yes, that's my analysis. He's going to win one of these. So, Denny Hamlin in a race that I think could be pretty chaotic. He's obviously a top 3, pure driver. He can get the most out of the car. It wouldn't surprise me if he finally gets that elusive win for the season.
So I think if I'm not mistaken, the 3 guys that had 21 wins last year, right? Wasn't it 21 combined? I think between Harvick, Hamlin, and Chase Elliott out of 36 races, they won 21 of the 36. And as you said, Rocky, they have no wins yet. So Andy, the do theory makes a lot of sense. But then again, the best road course racer would qualify with Chase Elliott for the do theory, and then Kevin Harvick would also qualify for the do theory. And they're ranked 1 and 3 average finish at road courses the last few years. Chase Elliott is 4th. I'm sorry, Truex is 1st, but Harvick's 3rd best, Elliott's 4th best, Hamlin's 6th best. So I think one of the 3 are very likely to get it. They're all due. But yeah, it's been crazy how they've been running consistently strong and they have no wins. They won 21 out of 36 last year, no wins this year. Rocky, what do you want to get to here? You want a long shot? What you got else for us here on the road course?
We can do a long shot. Andy's already mentioned the guy I had here for the long shot, Christopher Bell. He already won earlier this year at the Daytona road course. He has one top 10, 3 career road course races, average finish 15.3. But since he did win earlier, I would have to sprinkle a little bit on him. I'm assuming he's double digits to win it. I didn't see it before we went on air, but so that would be my long shot, a play against driver. And this is a guy that I've been playing on. I don't last week. I got him in an underdog at plus 135. Austin Dillon. I'm going to play against Austin Dillon this week. Dillon has no wins, no top 5 finishes, no top 10 finishes in 16 career road races. Average finish is 24.8 on road courses in his career. And over the past 3 years, he's even been worse with an average finish of 26.6 on road course tracks. So I'm looking to fade Austin Dillon if we can get a draw against him this weekend.
Yeah, first of all, I'm seeing Christopher Bell 20-1, 5-1 for top 3, even money for a top 10. So that even money top 10, I really like actually with Christopher Bell. I think that makes a lot of sense. As Rocky said, he won the one road course at the Roval earlier this year. He's in a car, as I mentioned with Gibbs, and as Andy mentioned, he's been good in general at road courses during all of his different stages of his career. And I also think he's a very talented driver. That fits that other box we checked earlier. Austin Dillon, play against. Yeah, you talk about, Andy, if there's ever a week to pay attention to these play against drivers, I think it's this week, because road courses are very difficult to ever get good at if you're not good. You need to see it first. And some guys like Earnhardt Jr. over his career did get better. But I can't imagine there's ever been a time when we've ever handicapped NASCAR where someone struggles at a particular type of track, and you're going to expect them to have a good run on a track they've never been to, which is completely different than any other type of track. I mean, I just don't see that happening. I just don't see these guys having a one-off this week. So Austin Dillon has struggled at road courses, pure play against, and he's been strong at times in recent years at other tracks. So you might find some attractive head-to-head matchups for that reason. Andy, you gave us a long shot earlier with Bell as well. Do you have anybody else, and maybe a play against guy also?
I'm just gonna keep fading Chase Briscoe. He's not shown me anything. We should be so much more ahead in betting against Chase Briscoe. It's not even funny. Twice we've lost on flat tires on the last lap with him. We lost on Ross Chastain's ridiculous pit strategy. We cashed last week. He was 32nd at the road course earlier this year. I don't think he's very good right now. We saw him wreck himself last week attempting to stay on the lead lap. So if they keep giving me a matchup against Chase Briscoe, I'm probably gonna say. I mean, it's just hard. It's hard to pick a long shot here. I guess Tyler Reddick at 100-1 is a little juicy. I just don't think Tyler Reddick is ever 100-1 he's always going to have a shot. He's a very, very talented driver. That's never been a question. So in a race that could be a little bit crazy to get somebody who I think has the pedigree to win, I would say Tyler Reddick at 100-1.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have two truck drivers that were both successful in the truck series, as a play on and play against. But I'm with you with Tyler Reddick. I think he is a very talented driver like Christopher Bell, another truck racer that was talented. Briscoe only one start in the Cup Series, was terrible in the one road race. So he makes mistakes, like you said. He's in the nominees this week for, what was it, the flat tire in the lead lap, or wrecking himself trying to stay in the lead lap. I mean, you've got 20 opportunities every lap on this course to make a mistake with 20 turns. So you have to be consistent. That's why guys like Kyle Busch, Harvick, Truex, guys we're mentioning are consistent drivers. That's why it's amazing to me. Chase Elliott also, you have to put him up there because he's been so good on these road courses. William Byron, by the way, does rank pretty high. So, 11 straight top 10s, all different types of tracks. And he's a guy that didn't start racing in real cars until age 15. Don't forget, he's only 23 now. And he's the second leading points guy behind Hamlin. So he wouldn't surprise me as a little bit of a dark horse as well if Byron maybe does pop up and do something. But we don't have much to go on there. It's, once again, it's almost like guessing. Rocky Atkinson, sportsmemo.com. Rocky's going to have his best bets up there this weekend. He's been crushing NASCAR his entire life. Over 100 wins the last 3 years alone. Over 40 net races up. Rocky also on at Rocket Man Sports. Got a ton of great information, including NASCAR plays and picks there for free as well, occasionally at Rocket Man Sports on Twitter. But Rocky, let's get to a free play here for the show, for the viewers. What are you looking at for this road course?
I'm going to look at Kevin Harvick to finish ahead of AJ Allmendinger. And I know we had a question a couple weeks ago about where I get these matchups from. If you go to WagerTalk.com or SportsMemo.com and you click live odds and you go down to NASCAR, it'll have the matchups there. But the lines won't come out until Sunday morning or right before the race on Sunday, probably in this case. So if you go there, you'll see Harvick's matched up with Allmendinger. There's no line on it. There's no telling. It could come out minus 200. I don't know. If it does, I'm not touching it, of course, because I don't ever minus 150. But for the show, I don't think it'll come out that high. It's according to where they qualify too. So you have to look at that. But Harvick has 2 wins, 10 top 5 finishes, 23 top 10s, and 43 races on road courses. Average finish is 12.4, which is third best among all active drivers. Over the past 3 years, Harvick has 7 top 10 finishes in 9 road course races, average finish of 7.9. And very quietly, Harvick is the hottest driver the past 3 races with a 4.7 average finish. AJ Allmendinger, on the other hand, no wins, no top 5 finishes. He does have 2 top 10s in 4 road course races the past 3 years. Average finish of 16.8 during that time. I feel like Harvick will finish ahead of Allmendinger on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking at least at DraftKings right now. They've got a handful of them. We've got Harvick. They've got matched up over Christopher Bell, minus 120 to minus 106. And then they do have Austin Cindric, a minus $1.30 favored over Allmendinger, even money. So I think Harvick will definitely be favored over Allmendinger. And Allmendinger is a road course ringer. That's the concern. But we talked about this, Andy. I believe you mentioned it in the Daytona show that I think you played Allmendinger here on the show, actually, as your free play, that, he's in a much weaker car than he's been in the years past when he's been trying to run on these road courses. So we'll see how that plays out. Once again, Rocky Atkinson likes Kevin Harvick over AJ Allmendinger. And Rocky brings up a great point, everybody. With practice Saturday and more importantly with qualifying Sunday morning, won't be done to Miami Eastern 3 hours before the race or 2 hours before the race, I believe. A lot of these sports books are already reluctant to put matchups up until Sunday. I would think they're definitely not going to put them up. So be ready, have your play on, play against guys, and then have your line parameters. And then when you see those numbers pop, be ready to jump on them Sunday morning. Rocky, of course, will have his best bets ready for you at sportsmemo.com and follow him on Twitter at RocketManSports. Andy Lang, WagerTalk.com. And Andy, they're calling this a Grand Prix race, so I guess that got you a little confused and made you handicap Formula One as well, because you've got a 2-for-1 special covering NASCAR this week at WagerTalk.com, right?
No, no one would ever confuse Formula One with NASCAR. NASCAR. This is no joke. A Louisville Slugger baseball bat is an approved pit crew tool. You can bring out a baseball bat to bend out a fender in NASCAR. So no, I will not get these two sports confused. But yes, the Grand Prix of Monaco, it is such a beautiful track. I said this on Wager Talk today. They race on the actual streets of the city. They race right by the bay that's right there with all the yachts. They're racing right by the hotels. There's a tunnel involved. It is just gorgeous. It's so beautiful on Sunday morning. Yeah, free play. I'm going to go Kurt Busch top 10. I can get this at plus 130 on DraftKings right now. So if your sports books offer props, I would jump on this one. Kurt has not been very good on the bigger tracks. I don't know if it's his car or whatever. I got to believe it's his car because he finished 4th at the Daytona road course earlier. And actually, if you remember it, Kurt does have a win this year. He won the Stenhouse Award for wrecking himself while he was in the lead at that. If you remember, he was leading. So he's shown he can get out and lead at the Daytona road course. He's averaging a top 10 finish the last 3 road courses he's raced at. So I think I don't think there's anything wrong with his driver's skill set. I just think maybe his car isn't up to snuff on the bigger tracks, but on this road course, very, very experienced driver. He should be good to navigate around, and top 10 at plus 130 is great value, my opinion.
Yeah, that qualifies once again as a skilled driver, in my opinion. Former Cup champion, a guy that's been with some lesser teams here in recent years, and Kurt Busch still finds a way to get it done. So doesn't make mistakes in general. He's kind of like Keselowski, Harvick, Truex, these other wily veterans we've been talking about, and his brother Kyle. And don't forget his brother Kyle, as Rocky said, did have some laps on this track. So maybe that information transfers over to Kurt as well. Something to think about. Rocky, real quick, another U.S. book I'm looking at. I'm seeing Keselowski minus 125, Allmendinger plus 105. So that's a pretty low price on a guy that's similar, I would say, to Harvick, you know. So I think right now Harvick's going to come minus 150 or less. That'd be my guess against Allmendinger, if that's any barometer from what we're seeing right now. So once again, Rocky Atkinson, sportsmemo.com for his best bets this weekend. He likes Kevin Harvick over A.J. Allmendinger. Andy Lang, WagerTalk.com. Formula One and NASCAR 2-for-1 special this weekend with best bets. And he's got Kurt Busch top 10 at plus 130. Nice little payoff there. Don't forget, we are back every Friday night here on Wager Talk TV with more NASCAR life in the fast lane. By the way, Andy's Twitter handle is @BumpSports, @BumpSports. Rocky, once again, @RockyMan Sports. And myself, Steve Merril, you can find me on WagerTalk.com on a mere 11-3 NBA run right now and 3-0 already in the postseason. It's a great time of year to get on board. Baseball hitting 80%. So baseball and basketball clicking on all cylinders for myself at WagerTalk.com. You can follow me on Twitter @Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As always, please thumb up, like the video if you like the content, subscribe to Wager Talk TV, and most importantly, leave us some comments below. We all read them. We interact with you. I love the feedback. I love to know your top threes. Hey, let us know any information you have. You know, Rocky said one of his Twitter followers sent him the information about who would test the tires here. We're all in it to win it. It's not a zero-sum game. We can all beat the sports books, hit 100% this weekend, and come out ahead by working together. Comment below. Feedback is always appreciated. And like your support, as always, for Wager Talk TV. Back next Friday for more NASCAR life in the fast lane. Thanks for watching, and good luck this weekend.